Hi, welcome to Paul's Tackle Reviews. My name's Paul Cresswell. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to give you some real reviews of tackle that's been out on the bank, tried and tested by an unbiased, unsponsored angler, and that's me. As I say with all of my videos, just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you, but I'll try and give you all the information so you can make your own mind up. So today I'm looking at the pole floats I use, and over the years I've bought hundreds of pole floats. I got my first pole in 1991, Shakespeare Equalizer 9.7 meters, and from that point on I've kept buying floats whether I knew what they were, how to use them, or what materials I thought was best. I've just kept doing that. I've sold them on eBay. I am a floataholic. But over the last few years, I've done more pleasure fishing, and I've done more testing of pole floats, and I've tried lots, and I've finally found down to a selection now, and I think I've got a good understanding of what material I want for the tip and for the stem, and what body shape and what size of float, and I'll take you through my selections. That doesn't mean I've stopped looking at pole floats or stopped buying pole floats. That will carry on forever, but I'll show you what I've got. What I will do today is at the end, when I've gone through these floats, I will show you the two patterns that I think you could use for 90% of commercial pole fishing, and how they will cover a multitude of uses, and how it can uncomplicate things for you, especially if you're fairly new to pole fishing. There's no point complicating your life with pole floats when there's lots of other things to get right, such as feeding and bait preparation, elastics, etc. If you can tick the box with pole floats, then you can really move on as an angler. I'm going to take you through what I have, and I have a tray in my box. These are all the Preston double winders, I think they're 18 centimeters. They're held in place using the rig racks that you can get from box trays, and I'll put their website on the bottom of the page and I'll show you a close-up of those. The double winders, but nearly every single one has just got a duplicate of the other float, so I've got two of every float just in case things are going well and then there's an accident and something breaks or you get in a tangle. And I also have, and I carry this in the bottom of my bag and it rarely comes out, one tray of bigger floats, and these are 0.81 grams and we're right up to 1.5, 2 grams. Not something I use very often. I think I've used one in the last couple of years, so I'm not going to take you through those, but I will take you through one of them that's housing my pace floats. So I'm going to move the camera now and take you through what I've got. So I've managed to wedge my camera holder between two boxes of videos. I've got a light somewhere near, and I'm going to have a go at going through pole floats. So the first one to look at is a good old Chianti, and these have been around for years. This is the new Preston style. This is a carbon stem, a slim body and a cane tip. And importantly, if you look, the eye is just set down from the top of the tip, which I think always makes carbon floats work better, because they kind of, as your bait's going through the water, the carbon stem tends to point towards your bait and doesn't get held up in the film that can sometimes happen when the ring is on the top. I carry these in 4x10, 12 and 14. I've even got a 3x8 that I might use, very delicate for silvers. These are really a great silvers float, a classic float. The only downside with them is with them having a cane tip, which is really sensitive. It is a solid tip, and it can be difficult to see in certain light. So certainly if you're fishing at range, this can be a difficult float to use, but it is a classic silvers float. The next one I want to talk about is a Guru Pinger float. And these have been out, I think, a couple of years now. It's Guru's foray into the pole float market using Mick Wilcoxon designs, and I've tried these from the very outset, and these are a lovely rugby ball shape, a nice 1.5mm hollow bristle, really visible, well secured to the float, and a carbon stem. And again, very importantly there, we've got the eye on the float just set down, which works really well. I've tried some of the dead ship F1 maggot kind of floats, and the eye is round the base of the tip, and it sometimes seems to hold up. These are brilliant floats. You can do anything with these floats. Great on the deck, any range, 2+2, nice visible long tip, so you can adjust as according, and you could also dot it right down so it's just a pimple, and it'll give you really good sensitivity. No problems at all using this for skimmers, for F1, for carp. Really good robust float. I've got these in, I think they're in strange sizing. I think it's 0.25, 0.4 and 0.5. They do go up to 1 gram. Great all-round float. Next, I've got attached to my camera lead, no, under my foot, there we go. I've got the same float, but with a wire stem. And wire stems are great if you want to really have lots of stability, and when you're not fishing through the water, so you're looking to catch on the bottom. And typically this will be shotted with a 0.4. I'd use maybe 8 number 9 stots, spread every inch or so from the hook length. That would give a really good strong stable bait. You're probably looking at fishing pellet, but it could be meat corn, and you're putting a bait on the deck and you're nailing it to the deck and waiting for the fish to come. I only really carry this in 0.4 and 0.6. I don't really see the value in a 0.2 wire, but again, brilliant flow, 1.5 tip, wire stem. So in the second launch of Guru floats, they launched some finer style floats, and this is a 0.45 carbon. I think it's called an F1 range, and it's got, I think it's still a 1.5mm hollow tip. It's a slightly shorter tip than the Pinger. Again, we've got the side eye just set down, carbon stem. A great float if you need a little bit more sensitivity. I've used this for silvers as well as F1. A really great float. Never had a problem with it. I'm trying not to tangle all these floats that I'm now putting to one side. So here is another float that I carry in all sizes from 4x10 to 4x16, and this is the dead ship range from Preston Innovations. This is the Carp Shallow. It's got a 2mm hollow tip. It's got the eye around the top there, and I think you can see the line then goes through the body at the top there, and it comes out of the body at the bottom. Obviously then I've got my silicone to hold it in place. It's got a super strong fiberglass stem. This is a brilliant versatile float, and I've got a few in my box. I've also got 3 F1 rigs with these already attached with various shotting and weights, so I'm quite happy using this for margins. It's great on the far bank. It's 2mm tip, nice and visible. Quite happy using it as a shallow float, so it's called Carp shallow, but I've used it in margins that are 5 foot deep with a bulk, some of the bigger sizes. A super versatile float that will cover lots of things by just carrying the one design. Getting my lines mixed up. Now, one thing that I like about a hollow tip is the visibility aspect of the hollow tip, but a 1.5 hollow tip for silvers can be a little bit overkill, so I've been on the lookout for a 1.2mm tip, and I found a company called RG Floats on the internet, and I've ordered a couple of these, and they weren't, I think they were £1.60 or £1.70, and we've got a 1.2mm hollow tip, a nice fine body. Again, the eye is just down from the tip, so we don't have that problem about it settling to a carbon stem. Now, what I will say is I haven't used these in anger yet because I've ordered them during lockdown because I like buying floats, but I think these are a really great design, great for silvers. I think winter silver fishing as well, especially when the light's difficult and you just can't use a cane tip that you get with the Chiantis. So that's another float I carry, mainly 0.2, 0.4 carbon stem, so great if you want to fish through the water, and a really good little float. So I'm now just going to come on to a few that I haven't unwinded from the winders, but I can just talk you through these. And we've got the Drennan crystal margin, 0.4 gram. I've got 2 of those in 0.4. I've got a lot of line above the float, and this is my mugging rig for the summer. So it's a short hook length with a banded bait, something like a robin red pellet or something similar to that, swinging it to fish or in front of fish that you can see waiting for them to take the bait. So you've got plenty of line there, really great float. I don't know whether the plastic see-through makes any difference, but it's just easy for me to identify in my tray. The other margin floats I use are these, and we had the Carp shallow that I use in the margin, but these are beast margin kind of rigs. So we've got a 3mm tip, we've got a strong fiberglass base. These all take 0.4. As you can see, I put 3 on a winder. Got these from a guy on eBay. These were, I think, £7 for 6, so they're not far off £1 a piece. So it's something I'm going to use in snaggy swims, up against reeds, and where you're fishing big bait. So you might have 2 great big dendras. You're not really watching for the float to go under for a bite. The whole thing disappears and it's game on, normally a big fish. And they've been great. I haven't broken one yet, so I've still got some in the garage. A nice strong eye just there. I wouldn't like that kind of eye, the spring eye, for normal fishing, but for margin fishing you just need that strength, and I'm quite confident I could drag these through rushes and reeds and whatever, and there wouldn't be any problem. just going to show you my jigger float there, and that's Maver jigger, and it's preloaded at the bottom, you can see, with some wire, so that means it sits better. I know all the shots down below, but sometimes I've used jiggers in the past and the float's lying on its side until the shot gets down, especially if the conditions aren't great. So this one sits lovely. I've got one here, the other one's on an F1 kit ready to go. And finally, I've got the Preston Innovations pace floats. These are their new pace floats. You can see there that at the tip there is a ring on the tip, so you thread your line through there. There's a side eye. It's really secure float. What I do with these is, you'll see I've got a black silicone tube at the bottom. That's actually tungsten tubing, so it's on the Carp shelves in the shop, and it has a little bit of weight to it. So if you get the right amount, you can then shot your float down to maybe just where there's a bit of the black body showing, and then use the paste to weight it down. I'm not a big fan of shot on paste rigs, and the tungsten tubing is great. It's not an idea I came up with. I watched a video by Andy Findlay, a Preston guy, and he's good. He's a good thinking angler. He uses this, and it's been a real revelation for me. I did say I was just going to take you through the two floats you could use for 90% of your fishing. And I think based on what I've said, you're going to be looking at the Guru Pinger. If you bought that in 0.25, 0.4, 0.5, and if you got the where have I put it? There we go. If you got the Preston Innovations Carp shallow float, you've got margins, mud lines, shallow, deep margins covered on the deck, any distance. You can use it 2+2 with the pinger. You could cover 90% of your float fishing. Many years ago, I read an article by Darren Cox, and he said, if you're getting confused, pick a good all-round float like the Garbolino DC4 and learn how to use it. And I did that for 2 years, and it just made such a difference. I knew what shot it needed, I knew when it was being held up, and it enabled me to concentrate on other things like getting the elastic right, getting the feeding right, bait preparation. If you can just tick off and you get comfortable with a float, you can then move on, and you might want to try a wire stem, you might not. You really could get away with 90% of commercial carp fishing by carrying these two floats in a number of different sizes. Welcome back. I hope you found that useful, interesting. It might have given you some ideas or a better understanding of what kind of float you will need in certain circumstances. I'm not saying buy all the same floats as me, but these are ones I've tried and tested, and they definitely work for me. If you want to give me a thumbs up, a like for my video, that's great. That helps spur me on a little bit. I'm going to put up there a list of some of my videos. I can't list all of them there. They're all available on my YouTube channel. We're over 20,000 views now, and lots of really good feedback from people, and I do appreciate the feedback and the comments that people give. I'm doing at least one video a week at the minute during lockdown, and my next video will look at my margin pole, and that's the Browning Zeiton Extreme 9.5 meter margin pole. I'm going to get that out and take you through that. I've had that 3 years. It's been a brilliant piece of kit. I'll also show you how it compares to a normal pole at the same length. And I've also got some of the Maver fighting sections, so I can do a compare and contrast, and I'll get outside and hopefully show you what that pull's really like. And the video after that, now it's getting better and I can get outside, I'll get my box, which is a MAP H30. Many of you will have seen it on lots of my other videos, and I'll take you through all the features and how I use that and how I've now got it set up. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, tight lines, see you soon.